So the next way to make it easier is to use Cabby. Cabby is a Python library just to handle sticks and taxi. And I've already installed it here. It's just the normal sort of commands to install this stuff. And then you can just use a command like taxi discovery to perform that discovery query. So that's already installed and should work on my Linux machine. And now it gives me a much more readable display. Discovery, and here's a little bit of information about it, collection management, and poll. So instead of giving me that blob of horrible XML, it's giving me a much more human readable response. All right, so now we can go to finding the available collections with taxi collections. And now you get feed about each collection, and here's the one we're going to use, datafishtank.com, and some information about the protocol and the address to use and so on. All right, and now we're going to, this, by the way, was already not wonderful. I really only wanted the names instead of all this extra junk. So you can do that by just grepping for name. So I take the same request. Now I'm in Linux where I can use simple filtering commands like grep for name. And now I get a really friendly list of just the names. And so I can use Linux tools to clean these things up. So now we can pull fish tank. And here's that request we did before, which is a lot friendlier again than it looked in, even in burp. Now you just have the path, then you have begin time and end time. So I do that, and again, I get way too much data in an ugly format. 136 blocks of data. So there were 136 items to fetch, and each one of them is like 20 lines of XML. So I can put that in a file called fish.txt. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to redirect the output to fish.txt. This is what you do when you have too much data in Linux. You stick it in a file. Now you can see that file contains 400,000 characters, so it's big. Now you can see what it looks like by doing head of fish. All right, and it's pretty, even the head shows these long XML lines. So what I want to do is find what lines have the interesting data and get rid of all the rest. So let's use less for fish, and I'll make this window bigger. Or less of fish. This will be a way to browse through it. So I'm looking for the URLs. So all this looks like header information that's boring. Someplace down here there were the actual URLs I cared about. These are timestamps. I don't really care about that. All I really want is the malicious URLs that are phishing. And somehow all this junk is hiding it from me. But I will, there it is, the URI object, there's an actual malicious URL. So let me see what I did here. Yep, that's an indicator. Okay. Indicator is URI watch list. Okay. All right, this is only what sort of thing they're going to be. First, I can see if there's different types of data in here. So the indicator tells me what type of data it is. And so I'm through trouble finding it there, but I'm just going to grep for indicator. I think that's all I do to see the good stuff. Yeah, let's grep for indicator, okay? Indicator type. So if I do this, I got to have text. All right, so there they are. And you can see that they're all the same. There are tools to do this more clearly, but anyway, you can see that they're all the same. So there's only one type of indicator in this whole file. So I don't need all those repeating things to tell me that. All right. So now I can sort unique values. This is the way you actually do it if you didn't know. You sort it and then use unique, and it will tell you how many unique values there are of that type. So now it'll tell me there's 62 entries and they're all the same. They all are indicator type URL watch list. So now the only thing I need is the URL. So I need to find the data with the URL, and here it is. Indicator description is one place where that URL can be found. So let me try that with my less again and see if I can demonstrate it live. Okay, indicator description. There. Indicator description, this URL and then some stuff. Here's one place the URL exists. Indicator description, this URL in brackets. That's the data I want. I want to get rid of all this other junk. So the way you do that is now look for indicator.description, :description in fish.txt. That will get me that one line. And let's see what those one lines look like. All right, they're still pretty big, but that's what they look like. Now, I'm getting rid of some of the junk. Now I can use cut. You can cut using delimiter, right square bracket, and that will cut it here. And since it's going to cut it there, the first field contains what I want, and the second field is junk I don't need. So I cut there and I take the first field, and then I run it through head to show only the first 10 objects, so I don't have to have it scrolling off the screen. So this is the way I get that part. Now it's getting better. Now I want to cut by this square bracket and take the second field. It's obviously the way to do it. And that's what this will do. So I cut by this bracket, take field 1, and cut by that bracket and take field 2. And now I'll get just the URLs and none of all that other junk. There. Now I'm getting a list of malicious URLs. So you can put them in a file. I can do all that junk and then put it in badurls.txt. And now I took the 400,000 characters of fish and I turned it into 5,000 characters of bad URLs. And I can count the lines of bad URLs, and there are 62 of them, and I can take a look at a few of them to see how they look, and that's how they look. So now I got a nice list of URLs, and you could feed that into a defense system, saying these are the bad URLs, put them in a proxy or something, and block them, and that's what we're going to do next. So there's a few flags to find using these tools, and let me stop this video.